Commander Zixthor stood on the bridge of the Dominion warship Eternal Conquest, his three eyes gleaming with anticipation. The holographic display showed a blue-green planet spinning peacefully below, utterly unaware of the armada that had just entered its orbit. "Fleet status?" he barked, his mandibles clicking with excitement. "All 700 vessels are in position, Commander," his tactical officer reported. "The primitives have no orbital defense platforms. Their technology appears to be confined to their planet's surface. Victory will be swift." Zixthor's people, the Vrexian Dominion, had conquered 47 star systems in the past century. This backwater planet, catalogued simply as Sol 3, would be their 48th. Intelligence reports indicated a fractured civilization, divided into warring tribes called nations. They possessed crude chemical propulsion and barely functioning communication networks. "Easy prey. Begin the assault," Zixthor commanded. "Target their major population centers. Break their will immediately." The first wave of plasma torpedoes screamed through Earth's atmosphere, targeting military installations across the planet. New York, Moscow, Beijing, London, all would burn simultaneously. The Vrexian way was total and overwhelming, but something unexpected happened. Within minutes of the first strikes, every nation on the planet went silent on external communications. The Vrexians intercepted frantic transmissions in dozens of languages, but then, nothing. Radio silence. "They've surrendered already?" Zixthor's second-in-command wondered aloud. "Impossible. Begin landing operations. Take their capitals." The dropships descended like falling stars, carrying elite Vrexian shock troops trained in subjugating lesser species. They landed in major cities, expecting scattered resistance from disorganized primitives wielding chemical projectile weapons. What they encountered instead was hell. The humans had not surrendered. They had mobilized. In the ruins of what the humans called Washington, D.C., a Vrexian battalion found themselves surrounded by armor they had dismissed as obsolete. But these metal beasts moved with surprising coordination, and their weapons, though primitive, were devastatingly effective. The humans fought with a ferocity that bordered on madness, refusing to retreat even when outnumbered. "Commander," the battalion leader's voice crackled through the calm. "They're using aerial drones packed with explosives. They're ramming them into our walkers. They're sacrificing their own infrastructure to—" The transmission ended in static. Over the next 72 hours, reports flooded into the Eternal Conquest. The humans were fighting back with everything they had. Ancient aircraft, some dating back decades, had been pulled from storage and pressed into service. Submarines launched missiles from hidden positions. Soldiers ambushed Vrexian patrols using tactics that seemed chaotic, but were brutally effective. But what truly horrified Zixthor was the collaboration. The warring nations of Earth had united. Chinese tanks fought alongside American infantry. Russian jets provided air cover for European ground forces. African nations contributed troops and resources. The fractured primitive civilization had become one organism with a single purpose: survival. "How is this possible?" Zixthor demanded, watching another dropship get obliterated by a human weapon they called a javelin. "Our intelligence indicated they couldn't cooperate." His intelligence officer pulled up archived data files. "Commander, I've been reviewing the planet's history. It appears warfare is their defining characteristic." "Explain." "In the past century alone, they've engaged in 2 planet-wide conflicts. They've developed thousands of ways to kill each other. They've created weapons capable of rendering their own planet uninhabitable. Commander, they've spent their entire evolutionary history perfecting the art of war." Zixthor felt something he hadn't experienced in decades: fear. The humans weren't just defending themselves. They were learning. Captured Vrexian weapons were being reverse-engineered in real time. Human scientists worked around the clock, and within a week plasma rifles were being manufactured in underground facilities. The primitives were adapting faster than any species the Vrexians had ever encountered. On the 8th day of the invasion, a human strike force infiltrated the Vrexian command post in Geneva. They moved through the sewers, avoided orbital surveillance, and emerged inside the perimeter with homemade electromagnetic pulse devices. The entire command structure was wiped out in minutes. On the 11th day, human hackers, a concept the Vrexians had never even considered, penetrated the Eternal Conquest's network through a captured communications array. They couldn't control the ship, but they could see everything. The humans now knew the fleet's exact positions, weaknesses, and command structure. On the 14th day, something unprecedented occurred. Zixthor watched in disbelief as 3 human spacecraft, crude vessels clearly built in haste, launched from the planet's surface. They were makeshift, welded together from parts of satellites and space stations, but they carried nuclear warheads, weapons the humans had designed to destroy themselves. Evasive maneuvers, Zixthor screamed, but it was too late. The humans had no guidance system sophisticated enough to target ships in orbit. So they didn't try to aim. They simply detonated their nuclear weapons in the middle of the fleet, using brute force and electromagnetic pulses to cripple dozens of vessels simultaneously. The Eternal Conquest shuddered as systems failed across multiple decks. Damage report. Life support failing on decks 4 through 9. Weapons offline. Shields at 15%. Another human vessel appeared on the scanners, this one even more primitive. It was broadcasting on all frequencies, and the translation software kicked in. This is Colonel Sarah Chen of the United Earth Defense Force. We've painted a target on every one of your ships. Our ground forces have your landing zone surrounded. We've cracked your communications. We know your supply lines. You came to our home. You thought we'd be easy. There was a pause, and then the human continued with ice in her voice. You should have checked what the word Earth means to us. It means we have nowhere else to go. It means we fight with everything we have. It means we never, ever surrender. Then she added something that would haunt Zixthor forever. Now get off our planet. Within the hour, Zixthor gave the order to retreat. Of the 700 ships that had entered Earth's orbit, only 412 limped away. The Vrexian Dominion's 48th conquest had become their first defeat. As the remnants of the fleet jumped to hyperspace, Zixthor pulled up the planet's designation in the database. Sol 3. He scrolled further and found the natives' name for their world, Earth. He made a notation in the file, one that would be transmitted to every Vrexian outpost. Avoid at all costs. Species designation Apex Predator. Classification Death World Inhabitants. Below, on the scarred surface of Earth, humanity buried its dead, rebuilt its cities, and looked to the stars. They had learned they weren't alone in the universe, and the universe had learned that humanity would never go quietly into the night.